7 years of studies. That's my 20s. The years that kind of ruined me to some extent. It messed up my social skills, and just I embraced my introverted self. Let's just say that. Where should I begin? Well, for starters, I wanted to create my own business and just make it big, but I didn't know how. So going in with that mindset, I knew I wanted to have as many doors open as possible that still aligned with some of my likings. I had my technical background, like being a boat mechanic and also growing up doing a lot of mechanics. I for sure liked that. And I also had a father that really emphasized you should be an engineer. So it just seemed natural to go in that direction, even though I didn't really thought it through. However, a master's degree in mechanical engineering, that's hard, at least for me. You see, I've always had grit, determination. I always studied hard and I did well at my exams, but when you start university and you go after a master's degree, then grit isn't enough. I realized that the hard way. Okay, before I go to that part of the story, I just have to set up the context. See, I was still living at Öland after all my adventures. This summer coming up, before the university studies started, I had met this really nice girl. As it happens, she lived in Stockholm where my studies were supposed to be. So after the summer, we had gotten to know each other at this camping we both were working at. We just landed on the conclusion that why don't I move in? Because when there were still 2 weeks left until the school started, I haven't thought about any accommodation or stuff. Like, I didn't even know if I was gonna go for the school at that point. Maybe I was gonna do another year of just living. It ended up so that I moved in with her. It was nice and I really liked her, as I said. But when school started, university started, damn, did that hit me in the face so hard. I hadn't done any math in 2 years and I was supposed to know that shit, and I didn't. The only way I survived was by doing super early mornings to super late evenings and just clamming on to the people that were able to do that. Yeah, that worked for a while, but the thing was I couldn't express my true self in that setting. You see, I've always had this low self-esteem, but with the right people that I've felt I have a higher self-esteem than these people, in those settings I was thriving. But now in the context of being surrounded by smart people at university, I felt so goddamn stupid. Because all the courses were just like advanced shit that wasn't my thing. And I was just like this leech extracting information from other people, constantly asking questions because I didn't get it. I put in the hours for sure. That was my strategy.
I'm not a smart guy, but hey, at least I got some work ethic. If I just push through on this, I can do it.
But there was a high price to pay. My social life started to decline because I had to put in all these hours. And this also took its toll on our relationship. I stayed with her for 6 months, and then there was an opportunity to move in with my best friend Christopher. That also meant that me and my previous girlfriend, we ended things. That was the last time I had a serious relationship, and that's a result of these studies. Because as I was getting to putting in those hours every day, never feeling good about it because you never felt done, you never caught up. After the first year, I wasn't even allowed to move up to the second class because I had failed 50% of my classes, and that's after putting in 12-13 hours of studying every day, morning till evening. Like this thing within me, when I set out to do something, I don't quit. People's opinions of me, and if people look down on me for quitting, it's just like that awful feeling. But also I think telling my dad that I was gonna quit, that I couldn't do that. So I went on. I pushed on for the wrong reasons, I think. First 3 years, university was just hell. I attended less and less like social gatherings and parties. If I went out socializing with people and stuff like that, it capitalized on the time I had to spend studying. And the thing is, since I have an introverted side of me within, it had an excuse to be that introverted self. It's like, that's the natural choice for me. If there's a good argument for why I should be at home and just do my thing, I choose that. The setup made me lose my ability to be social, especially with new people in the context where I feel that these people are above me, which was basically all the time, and I couldn't be myself. I wasn't able throughout these years to show up as my true self, and that was detrimental for my self-esteem, for who I was as a person. I wasn't whole. I remember one time coming into school and I was just struck by this nauseous feeling of wanting to throw up. I just wanted to puke all over because I didn't want to be there. It was just awful. I hated it at that moment. I hated it. I was only enjoying life when I was home, hanging out with my best friend, because that was a blast. We did have a lot of fun things going.
Tja,
Gick det bra?
vad heter du?
Alex.
Hur många år är du?
Hur många år är jag?
Ja,
Jag är 22 år gammal.
samma sak som
Han som går i min klass, Fredrik.
ja, Fredrik.
Yep.
There is upside to this story. The one I choose to look at when I look back at this period now. I had a lot of great moments too.